I'll call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Texas Southmost College District. Trustees present, Ms. Delia Saenz, Dr. Norma Lopez Harris, Dr. Zavaleta, Ms. Alejandra Aldrete, Mr. Edward Camarillo, Mr. Edgar Garcia, myself, and our president, Dr. Jesus Roberto Rodriguez. And I'll call on Dr. Zavaleta for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the unity of Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Thank you, Dr. Zavaleta. Ms. Aldrete had taken over that role, Dr. Zavaleta.
Yes.
You didn't hear me. Public comments? Public comments? I'll say my report. I want to begin by sharing that I, as well as Trustee Saenz, Dr. Lopez Harris, Ms. Aldrete, and the president attended the State of the Port last month at the Brownsville Event Center. Brownsville Navigation District Esteban Guerra delivered the address and highlighted the port's role in growing our local economy. During this event, I was able to meet up with Ana Garcia, and if anybody knows who Ana Garcia is, she is been the director for Senator Corning for a long, long time, and a good friend of TSC that gave us a shout out and said, I'm here with our friends from TSC, and that was good. And she's always there to help in any way we can. And sometimes it's just listening, right? And we don't know how it works, but we've done well since we've been friends with them. So I want to thank her personally. It was a very enjoyable event. Then we've been dealing with this strategic planning. Over the past months, our board and our many stakeholder groups have been engaged in strategic planning process. In April, our facilitator held focus groups with students, faculty, staff, administration, and community members. And I was really amazed when I talked to her because after she met with all the groups, she said, it seems like I was talking to the first group. Every group had the same goals. And it was interesting to follow that. We also set out our electronic surveys to our campus community to gather input for as many stakeholders as possible to better understand their wants and needs. The Board of Trustees Strategic Planning Committee held 2 meetings to review the data, gather, and move forward recommendations for the strategic plan to the Board of Trustees, and that would be Dr. Lopez Harris and Mr. Camarillo. Finally, our Board of Trustees held 3 workshops to review the data and the recommendations from the Strategic Plan Committee in order to finalize the TSC strategic plan for 2026-2030. Seems like far away, but it's gonna get here fast. This brings us to tonight. The full board had the chance to review the recommended TSC strategic plan 2026-2030, which is the one on the agenda for consideration. I want to thank the entire Scorpion family, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, because you all did what you were supposed to do, participating in the process. We were really excited about this next chapter in Texas Southmost College as we head to the 100th year celebration of our community's college. I want to call on the president to give us your report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, trustees. I would like to begin my report with some wonderful news. The TSC Criminal Justice Institute Advisory Board was notified that all 31 of our spring graduates successfully passed their TCO license. Oh, yeah. 100% passing rate.
Pa que no digan.
Yeah, para que no digan. And this achievement is a testament to the dedication, professionalism,
and unwavering support demonstrated by the WTC leaders and instructors led by Vice President Richard Mezquias, our AVP Angelica Fuentes. Their collective efforts are just incredible of our successful cadets in contributing to a safer, stronger workforce for our communities, and also it's basically the ROI to our Board of Trustees for infusing the much-needed dollars to bring our program up to par.
When I went to visit, and there were many cadets, my first thought was, we're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. And I was anxious to get this report, but damn, you proved me wrong. Thank you.
Very well, thank you. Now, since we last met, we also held a number of ceremonies to honor our graduating students. During our spring commencement ceremony, we honored a graduating class that was 988 students strong. Our commencement speaker was Mrs. Teresa Ann Capistran, Superintendent of Point Isabel Independent School District. As an alumna of Texas Southmost College, she encouraged the students to have confidence in all of the knowledge and skills they have gained as they go out to conquer the world. In addition, over the past month, we have celebrated the graduations of our A students, our health profession students, and our Criminal Justice Institute cadets. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Chair Garza, Secretary Lopez Harris, Trustee Aldrete, Trustee Camarillo, and Trustee Garcia for participating in the events, and to all of our trustees for supporting our students. On behalf of our faculty and staff and students, thank you for your continued support. Thank you, trustees.
It was a long day, but a fun one.
Next, I would like to recognize our IT employees who share their expertise with our higher ed colleagues across the nation. Mr. Luis Villarreal, Randy Wallace, and Miriam Garza and Conrad Perfett participated in the Illusion Live National Conference held during the spring semester in Florida. The team led 3 conference sessions. So congratulations to our colleagues for providing this robust professional development and showcasing the great work that's being done at Texas Southmost College at the national stage. Yep.
Thank you.
Now, obtaining training for our TSC employees remain a priority as we continue to pursue excellence in all areas of Texas Southmost College. This year, we applied for and we were granted a risk management education grant from TASB. The grant funded tuition for several of our HR and facility staff to engage in training on a wide variety of topics, from managing FMLA to electrical safety in the workplace. Thank you to Keela Tuttle, our Director of Operations for Safety and Risk Management, for spearheading this opportunity. Our community outreach continues this summer. Earlier this month, we held our 3rd annual Scorpion Youth Soccer Camp. Approximately 50 young athletes participated, representing Brownsville, San Benito, and Los Fresnos. It does take a strong team to facilitate this high-level community engagement. So thank you to our student services team, led by Dr. David Plummer, including Dr. Ponce, Coach Zamora, and our volunteer soccer players for another great soccer camp. I also want to extend my thanks to Trustee Camarillo for participating in the Scorpion Youth Soccer Camp Award ceremony. Thank you, sir. Now, speaking of our soccer players, our Scorpions are demonstrating that it truly means to be a successful student athlete. 12 members of our team were named to Region 14 All-Academic Team. To earn this distinction, they had to compete in 1 season of varsity sports and complete 24 credit hours, earning a minimum GPA of a 3.2. Congratulations to our following students. Oh, yes. Alessandra Aldape, America Gonzalez, America Guerra, Anaí Banda, Camila Mines, Christian Casas, Romualdo Gonzalez, Clarity Martinez, Isabel Rodriguez, Maritza Sainz, Elizabeth Torres, and Kevin Zamora. Thank you for showing your commitment to our communities, what it means to be Scorpion Strong. So thank you to the students. Now, with the summer in full swing, our hardworking student services team, once again led by Dr. David Plummer and Ms. Vanessa Vasquez, continues to engage our campus community to foster student success. We had the sign language classes, the career services workshops and employer connections, the blood drive, the Juneteenth celebration, registration roundup. And now, as we look ahead to the fall semester, We will be offering several new programs: the Associates of Arts in Music, Associates of Science in Allied Health Education, Structural Welding Cert 2, and Welding Cert 1. I extend my thanks to the Board of Trustees for setting the course for expansion of programs that are relevant to our community and connect our students to high-wage, high-demand careers. And now, it is time for this month's video highlighting the activities that have occurred since we last met. If you can please roll the video. We do this work because we truly believe higher education is a pathway towards a brighter future for individuals, their families, and ultimately, our entire community.
Be proud of what you have achieved. Your journey does not end here.
The road may not be easy, but if others have done it, you can too. You can do whatever it is that you choose to set your mind to do.
you. Well, in closing, I would like to thank the Board of Trustees for your continued commitment to our college and to the communities that we serve. And we, faculty, staff, administration, students, want to thank you for your leadership in setting our strategic vision, and as Madam Chair always likes to say, and continue to move TSC forward with purpose and direction. With that, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I want to go back to the graduation rate. It wasn't that I didn't believe in you, Dr. Fuentes, or in you. It was that we have experienced the other part, and it's not fun. So, but thank you again. Very, very proud of our cadets. Okay, we're gonna go to item number 6, consideration and possible action on the approval of the minutes of the following meeting. Regular meeting, May 15, 2025.
I so move.
I entertain a motion from Ms. Aldrete and Ms. Sines. Any discussion?
No, it was Ms. Harris. Ms. Sainz.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Number 7, consideration and possible action on the approval of the TSC strategic plan. Mr. President, I'll call on you to.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, we've had 3 Board of Trustees workshops. The Strategic Planning Committee met twice as well. Well, we have 3 Board of Trustees workshops, 2 strategic planning workshops. We had the focus group of our stakeholders, faculty, staff, administration, students, and community. We did that survey to get information from our campus community. And all that information, all those meetings for the last 3 months or so has placed us here. So before you is, and in your packet, is our TSC Strategic Plan 2026-2030. So the next slide, we'll just move quickly through it. Our mission statement, Texas Southmost College is driven to be a nationally leading, community-rooted, and student-centered institution that transforms lives and uplifts families. And the mission statement is Texas Southmost College empowers students, families, and industry through practical, affordable, high-quality education that drives personal success and elevates the regional economic growth. And this has been wordsmithed a lot by our Board of Trustees in trying to get the right wording and the right message with that one.
And I think we all had some input in it, all of us.
So the entire strategic plan has the Board of Trustees' DNA and fingerprints all over it, as well as our campus community, so.
What really surprised me too is I came to visit when the community members got together, and I dropped off just to say hello. And my God, they were into it, they were working. I think they were very well selected, people that really care for TSC. And I sat around for a little bit, and it was like, we're here to work. And it was really amazing to see how cohesive they were, and there were members from Rosendo Escareño to Rusty Bershow, and then the port, and so we represent. It was the whole community was represented, and they work hard, and they wanted. It's amazing because the port had interest in the port, of course, you know, and so he kept gearing it that way, and then the bankers would pull it the other way. So it was really interesting to see how well they worked together, and it was for the benefit of TSC. So
Yes, ma'am. I got to tell you, all the meetings with the Board of Trustees, with the Strategic Planning Committee, with everyone, they were very productive meetings, and that was very enriching, the data that we were able to collect. Our next slide, values. And we updated 2 values with community and accountability. We always say we're a family working together, sense of belonging. So it is about community. We value community. And then accountability. I know the Board of Trustees always keep saying, hey, we're good stewards of the taxpayers' money. We handle and hold the president accountable and the staff. So we value accountability. So that was the second value that was added. Next slide. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you see our strategic goal, the increased student enrollment, retention, completion, and transfer. All that lines up to our new funding on House Bill 8 of how we're going to be newly funded as community colleges, and you've got your broad strategies in how to achieve our goal. Once the board selects a strategic plan, you'll select the strategies, and then we as our employees will select the actionable items specifically to achieve those strategies, to achieve the goals. The next goal. Number 2 is align academic and continuing education pathways to the workforce. And that's something that you were mentioning, Madam Chair, about the employers lining up to the pathways. We always say at the end of the day, you got to land a JOB that's going to land to a career. So learn a skill set that people are willing to pay for, and that is part of this goal. Next one. Goal number 3, enhance facilities and technology infrastructures. We have to be a little bit more prescriptive, even though we've done a lot of work within the last 8 years and infused millions of dollars into our computer labs, lecture labs, and buildings. We have to be a little bit more strategic in enhancing. And I think that was a key word, enhance our facilities and technology. And I think that's what they want, a little bit more on the cutting edge. Next slide. Expand employee development and organizational culture. Those are the things we have to do here a little bit more internally, but also do a little bit of the outreach on that one. Next one. And the final goal is elevate the community engagement and institutional visibility. I like that word, elevate. We're doing something good. We really are. We just need to elevate it, bring it to the next level. And as we're celebrating our centennial, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to bring TSC to the next level when it comes to the engagement with the community and institutional visibility. And as you can tell, this one's the one that has some more strategies to achieve. So that's where we're at. Those are your vision, missions, your values, the strategic goals, and the strategies to achieve them. And this is the fruits of our labor and your labor of putting everything together. So before you is the TSC Strategic Plan 2026-2030.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the strategic plan.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Camarillo, second by Ms. Aldrete. Any discussion? No? Llenaron the strategic plan? No more? We're done with it?
I think so.
All those,
I just want to say that, I really appreciate Kathy's help, who led this with the Maya Consulting and the entire Texas Alamos College team, because, they made it really simple to understand the direction that we knew we were going to take. But they did a lot of groundwork. And so I really appreciate them. Mr. Oscar spent, I'm sure, hours, countless nights, really indebted to this, and seeing that data and what all that represented, to me, was very clear in telling where the strategic plan was going to go. And so I appreciate all their support and effort. Of course, President Rodriguez, likewise. So, and everybody's input here was outstanding. So appreciate the collaboration.
well, it started with you too. And you got you got all the information before anybody else did. And you had to go through it and decipher, and you had 2 different workshops just with you guys. I visited, but it started with you, so it turned out good.
Yes, it was
Appreciate
really
Dr.
good.
Lopez. She, when I went direction, you tugged me a different one. So which
Yes, it was a great experience, and I'm very happy with the results, and I appreciate everybody as well. And President, thank you very much for all your help.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Ahora we go to Finance Committee.
Finance, okay.
Ms. Science?
The Finance Committee met on Thursday, June 16, 2025. Present were Chair Garza, President Rodriguez, myself, members of the TSC administration, and College Legal Counsel. The committee discussed the following. 8A, consideration and possible action to approve 2025 and 2026 tuition and fees schedule. I call on Mr. Oscar Hernandez to present.
Thank you, Ms. Science. Madam Chair, board members, President Rodriguez, good afternoon. Before you is the proposed 2025-26 tuition and fee schedule. This is really the result of concerted efforts between the divisional deans and the finance office, who work tirelessly to find a creative way to help our students. With this tuition and fee schedule, students will be ready to learn from day one because they will have the right materials and tools for their courses. And upon completion of the programs, they will graduate with the licensure, certifications, and tools needed to start a job right after graduation. With this in mind, if you have any questions, we'll be happy to entertain them at this time.
I move to approve the 2025-2026 tuition and fee schedule as presented.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Sines, second by Dr. Lopez Harris, and I want to congratulate you on the being so creative. And it does start with the students, and anytime you start looking at the students' benefit, I think we turned out into this. And, at the beginning, I had a hard time understanding it when it was presented. And then I opened my mind, and then I saw you guys did really, really well. And it goes back to what I say all the time, Mr. President. You and your team have been so creative in moving us forward. And I think it's because it starts with the student in mind.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Okay. Item 8B, consideration and possible action on approval of Budget Amendment 25-003 to recognize excess revenue in the amount of $2 million. I call on Mr. Pacero.
Thank you, Ms. Sines. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, we have for your consideration and possible action Budget Amendment 25-003. And this budget amendment is to recognize excess revenue, and we're proposing that we fund that budget amendment from 3 different sources. It would be investment income, excess tuition and fees, and excess ad valorem tax collections. So those 3 primary sources will fund the budget amendment. And in your packets, we included a listing of the proposed projects that we are recommending that we fund with this excess revenue. I worked closely with Dr. Garcia and her team out of the facilities area to develop the listing. If there are questions, we'll be happy to answer those.
Dr. Rodriguez, these are the items that are in most need.
That is correct. We, as with the committee, found out most need and within the budget that we currently have. So yes.
Okay, thank you. I move to approve Budget Amendment 25-003 for fiscal year 2025 as presented.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Sines, second by Dr. Lopez Harris. Any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So in regards to what Mrs. Sines just mentioned, I know we just completed the strategic plan. There's a long path forward and its interpretation. And going back to like assessing the most important needed capital improvement plans for the campus. So I know that a lot of them are a lot of construction, capital improvement, infrastructure that's needed to see how that plan is going to be offset what is currently being done here today. So I just kind of want to make sure that we keep that in mind when we get to do that assessment.
Absolutely. I know, we're waiting to see if the board approves this. Once this gets approved, we go back to the checklist and cross-reference, make sure we take those items off, but continue to evaluate what the capital improvements need to work. I mean, there's some catch-up work we still need to do in some areas.
Absolutely. Thank you.
The word excess rings well with me, because who has access? We always find to spend it, no? Find a way to spend it. Well, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Against? Motion carries.
Item 8C, consideration and possible action to approve resolution for emergencies and disasters. I call on Mr. Carlos Pacero.
Thank you, Ms. Sines. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, for your consideration, possible action, a resolution for emergencies and disasters. And if I may provide a little bit of background of where this came from. Last month, the staff in the Safety and Security Department held a tabletop exercise where we focused on an event like a natural disaster. The exercise posed a fictional scenario where a storm made landfall and had certain impacts on our campus. Discussion identified scenarios where the college would be in a situation where we would be challenged with the absence of the typical or the normal avenues to solicit, and procure goods and services. Normal avenues such as telephone, internet, just electricity, right, to turn something on. So in those instances, and although our policy and procedure addresses emergency purchases, we may face a scenario where we would be prudent to take quick and decisive action to ensure that the safety of our students, our employees, and the safeguarding of our TSC property come first. With that little bit of background, I'll end my presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions on the resolution that we're proposing.
Any questions? I move to approve the resolution for emergencies and disasters as presented.
A motion by Ms. Science,
Second.
second by Ms. Dr. Lopez Harris. Discussion.
Okay. Did we say that there would be something added to this so that,
Yes, when we looked at it the first time, we want to make sure that you don't give full authority to the president, right? And, bless his heart, Mr. Herrera used to say.
I wasn't gonna go
Yeah,
there,
for sure.
but
I don't
somebody
want
opened it
witnesses,
up.
quiero cómplices, right? But no, it is true, and part of it was in the, number 6, authority to postpone, suspend, and cancel regular board meetings during alter operations and/or the college closure in the interest of health and safety after consultation and approval by the board chair. So that was added to make sure that it's the chair that you elect to determine to have a meeting or not. And then when we have to do those emergency purchases, it says upon approval by the majority of the chair, vice chair, and secretary. And that's the important things. Then when we have to meet, then it is the executive committee that makes the decision by majority on that one. And it's not just the sole discretion of the president. So it's a little check and balance on that one.
thank you, that's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah, it's added. It's added.
I move to approve the resolution for emergencies and disaster as presented.
We already had a motion. We had a motion in a second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Item number 8D, consideration and possible action on adoption of the 2025 Historic Preservation Plan resolution granting tax exemptions to eligible historic sites listed in the 2025 Historic Preservation Plan adopted by the City of Brownsville. I call on Mr. Carlos Becerra.
Thank you, Ms. Sainz. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, for your consideration and possible action, we have a presentation that we have commonly brought to the board for consideration on an annual basis, where we list properties that are historic in nature. And the proposition is to exempt them from a tax that's assessed by the TSC district. And I have a very short presentation with a couple of pictures of what is possible to be done by saving a little bit on that tax and then putting it back into those properties. And we see some images here of the before and after and what they're doing with this money. There are properties or in your packet, you had listings of several different properties that either were 100% exempted or 50% exempted, so there's detailed schedules there. But the takeaway here is that the impact to the district in terms of revenue that will not be collected from the exemption is $20,000.
Because our taxes are so low.
Yes. Yes. And that being the main takeaway, I'll end my presentation with that. If there are questions on the items that are in your packet, I'd be happy to answer them.
I move to approve proposal to adopt the 2025 Historic Preservation Plan resolutions granting tax exemption to eligible historic sites listed in the 2025 Historic Preservation Plan Schedule A, removing the properties listed on Schedule B, expired term, as presented.
Motion by Ms. Science,
Second.
second by Dr. Harris. Discussion?
Madam Chair, Mr. Pacetto, do you know if we're the only taxing district that they're coming forth asking for those exemptions?
No, sir. From the material that I read, both the county and the city had already signed off.
We get this every so many years, right? Is it every year?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Dr. Zavaleta, your house is in the historic district, right? You get tax exempt? I don't think it's on the list. Oh, okay, okay. So I just wanted to make sure that you didn't vote if.
It was removed from the list because I didn't make certain improvements,
Oh, okay, so,
which have been made by them, I haven't contacted the city.
okay, so this is not on the list. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
Okay. Item 8E, monthly financial statement report for the month ending April 2025. Mr. Carlos Pacero.
Thank you, Ms. Sainz. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, I have for you the monthly financial statement for the month ended April 30th. The report is in a similar fashion that we've presented, where we have the activity that's occurring along the left column. We have budget and actual numbers. I'll mainly concentrate my presentation here on the actual April column. And with that said, I'll begin by mentioning there's 3 fund types that we adopt a budget for. This is the first of the 3, being the education and general fund. And on this slide, we have a subtotal for revenue, which is $592,000. On the following slide is where the expenditures category begins. We have 2 subtotals here for $1.9 million and $517,000 for salaries and wages and benefits, respectively. On the next slide is where our M&O category begins, and that spans through here, and subtotals at the bottom here, $1.8 million for the month of April. Moving on to the next slide, we have travel and general institutional, and those subtotals are $32,000 and $76,000 respectively. I'll mention that this is our last slide for the general fund expenditures, which is $4.7 million. And so that's revenue and expenditures for the general fund. Moving on to the auxiliary fund, which is the second of the 3. We have on this slide revenue for the month of April, which is $108,000. On the next slide is where our expenditures categories begin. We have salaries and wages of $56,000 and benefits of $13,000. On the following slide, we have where our M&O starts and concludes here on this slide. Our subtotal is $55,000 for the month of April. And total expenditures for the auxiliary fund, $347,000 for the month of April. So that's revenue and expenditures for the auxiliary fund. And the last of the 3 are general obligation and revenue bond funds. We have revenue on this slide, $646,000 for the month of April. And then we have expenditures of a whopping $410 for the month of April. So with that, I'll end my presentation. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
This item is for information only. No action is required, and this concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Saenz. Thank you,
you.
Dr. Lopez Harris. Mr. Pacero, muchísimas gracias. I know that Mr. Herrera's happy that you're doing a great job, and we haven't skipped a bit, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing.
Very much
And
appreciate
thank your
it.
team. Academic report, and I'm going to call on Ms. Aldrete because Dr. Zavaleta wasn't here. So would you present the items, please?
Perfect. The Academic Committee met on Tuesday, June 17, 2025. Present were Chair Garza, Trustee Aldrete, President Rodriguez, and members of the TSC administration and College Legal Counsel. The committee discussed the following items. 9A, consideration and possible action to approve the interlocal agreement between Texas Southmost College and the City of Brownsville Municipal Court for a teen court. I call on Dr. Alves.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Board of Trustees, and President Rodriguez. For your consideration and possible action, I present to you for your approval an interlocal agreement between Texas Southmost College and the City of Brownsville Municipal Court for an alternative juvenile court or teen court, also known as a teen court. The Brownsville Municipal Court seeks to create a diversionary program for juveniles in its jurisdiction for the adjudication of status offenses. Status offenses are those non-criminal or statutory offenses that may be illegal for a juvenile to complete, but they're not illegal for an adult. The teen court will occur in the Ruben Herrera Legal Center. This partnership provides a sorely needed view of the juvenile justice system, review of the juvenile justice system, which provides alternative sanctions in the community without long-term consequences for youth that may run afoul of the criminal justice system. Texas Southmost College has also identified an academic pathway for its criminal justice and paralegal students to participate in this program that aligns with the student learning outcomes in several program courses, including our paralegal courses, our LGLA courses, as well as CRIJ 1313, which is juvenile justice systems. The TSC faculty will work with the municipal court in the creation of the process that is necessary for this court to function, as well as our students, as well as the BISD students that will be participating as well. There are no fiscal implications in this matter, and it is being reviewed by the college and legal board. So I'll take any questions.
I move to approve the interlocal agreement between the City of Brownsville Municipal Court and Texas Southmost College for the Brownsville Diversionary Program or Teen Court as presented.
A motion by Ms. Aldrete,
Second,
second by Ms. Science. Who will be the judge, do we know?
that's what I want to know.
There will be multiple.
Multiple.
There are multiple judges.
Do we have any names?
No, not yet.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor? Oh, go ahead.
Dr. Alves, do you know if the students that, if they're going to be in this divergent program, would have fairly easy access to come to workforce or enroll in TSC?
Yes.
Okay.
They will.
Do you
That's, I mean, that's one of the purposes of this, is to redirect those students. And for example, it may be truancy, for example, all right, which is not a crime for a juvenile, all right, but juveniles need to go to school. So we want to get them on that right path. So this is an opportunity to get them on the right path, but also to introduce them to TSC.
And last question, do you know if we're doing anything or the future plan for like a veterans court for those veterans that may have some minor, those kind of minor issues? Is that something maybe being discussed or talked about?
It's something I can pursue. Okay. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
We need to be
Mr.
careful,
Camarillo?
I'm sorry, we need to be careful with who we bring into the college.
Mr. Camarillo, I believe the county has a veterans court already, and different judges preside over it, and there is a certain attorney who manages the veterans.
No, thank you.
I had a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
9B, consideration and possible action to approve a memorandum of understanding between Texas Southmost College and the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. I call on Mr. Oscar Hernandez.
Thank you, Ms. Aldrete. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, before you is an MOU between TSC and UTRGV. This MOU has 4 parts. One is the core curriculum, that if they complete the 42 hours with us, they will accept the entire core curriculum at UTRGV. Also, if they complete a portion of the core, meaning what we call a component area option, we have 9 parts in the core. If they complete one of those, or 2 or 3 with us, UTRGV will accept those as completed. In addition, if they decide to transfer, if they transfer with 30 hours or more, or they complete an associate's degree with us, they will have a guarantee acceptance in admissions into UTRGV as long as they have a 2.0 GPA. Also, the 4th part is that we also put in the MOU that they'll be working with our registrar to do the reverse transfer. So if a student transfers before completing an associate's degree with us, if they have 30 hours or more, We will be working with their registrar and our registrar. We'll be working together to identify if the student is able to receive a degree from us, what we will call a reverse transfer degree. And this has been reviewed by legal counsel, and so it is before you now.
Junior or senior counsel?
Both.
I move to approve memorandum of understanding between Texas Southmost College and the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley and authorize President Rodriguez to sign the memorandum of understanding as presented.
I have a motion by Ms. Aldrete, second by Dr. Zavaleta. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
9C, consideration and possible action to approve memorandum of understanding between Texas Southmost College and National University. Mr. Hernandez?
Thank you, Ms. Aldrete. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, before you, it's a MOU between TSC and National University. National University is an online university, so if any of our students enrolled in at National University, they will receive a 25% discount in their tuition. They will receive what they call a transfer scholarship. Also, if we have any alumni, they will receive, I believe, 15% of discount in their tuition. Also, if our employees want to attend National University, they will also receive a 15% reduction in tuition and fees.
I move to approve memorandum of understanding between Texas Southmost College and National University and authorize President Rodriguez to sign MOU as presented.
Motion by Ms. Aldrete, second by Dr. Zavaleta. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
9D, consideration and possible action to approve the articulation agreement between Texas Southmost College and Del Mar College. I call on Dr. Guajardo.
Good afternoon, members of the board, Madam Chair, President Rodriguez. I'm presenting for your consideration and possible action the articulation agreement between Texas Southmost College and Del Mar College. This agreement allows our ADN graduates to transfer into the bachelor program at Del Mar College without having to repeat previously completed coursework here at TSC.
I move to approve articulation agreement between Texas Southmost College and Del Mar College and authorize President Rodriguez to sign the agreement as presented.
I have a motion by Ms. Aldrete, second by Dr. Zavaleta. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
9E, consideration and possible action to approve the affiliation agreement between Texas Southmost College and Doctors Hospital at Renaissance.
Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, again, I'm presenting for your consideration and possible action the affiliation agreement between Texas Southmost College and Doctors Hospital at Renaissance. This agreement is intended to facilitate clinical learning experience for Texas Southmost College students enrolled in the credit and non-credit programs using the DHR facilities here in Brownsville.
I move to approve the affiliation agreement between Texas Southmost College and Doctor Hospital at Renaissance and authorize President Rodriguez to sign the agreement as presented.
Motion by Ms. Aldrete, second by Dr. Zavaleta. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
9F, consideration and possible action to approve the affiliation agreement between Texas Southmost College and HCA Gulf Coast Division, Inc.
Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, this is an affiliation agreement between Texas Southmost College and HCA Gulf Coast Division, which includes the facilities of Valley Regional and Rio Grande Regional Hospital. Our students are able to use these facilities to conduct their clinical work, and also this facilitates for credit and non-credit programs.
I move to approve the affiliation agreement with HCA Gulf Coast Division, Inc., and authorize President Rodriguez to sign the agreement as presented.
Motion by Ms. Aldrete, second by Dr. Zavaleta. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
9G, consideration and possible action to approve the articulation agreement between Texas Southmost College and Texas State University Department of Organization Workforce Leadership Studies.
Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, I'm presenting this articulation agreement between Texas Southmost College and Texas State University Department of Organization Workforce Leadership Studies. This articulation agreement with Texas State and the college affirms shared commitment to a seamless transfer process. This agreement upholds the principle that students should not be required to repeat competencies that have already mastered in our credit programs here at TSC.
I move to approve the articulation agreement with Texas State University Department of Organization, Workforce, and Leadership Studies, and authorize President Rodriguez to sign the agreement as presented.
Motion by Ms. Aldrete, second by Dr. Zavaleta. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, any discussion? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
9H, consideration and possible action to approve the renewal of the affiliation agreement between Texas Southmost College and South Texas Emergency Care Foundation, Inc.
Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rodriguez, this is a renewal of the affiliation agreement between Texas Southmost College and South Texas Emergency Care Foundation, which is located in Harlingen. Our students in the Emergency Medical Science program uses their facilities or their equipment or ambulances to conduct their clinical practices.
I move to approve the renewal of the affiliation agreement with South Texas Emergency Care Foundation, Inc., and authorize President Rodriguez to sign the agreement as presented.
Motion by Ms. Aldrete, second by Dr. Zavaleta. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
This concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Aldrete. Facilities Committee, and I'm going to call on Mr. Edward Camarillo to present the items.
Thank you. The Facilities Committee met on Tuesday, June 17th, May 5th, 2025. President were Chair Garza, Trustee Garcia, President Rodriguez, myself, members of the TSC administration, and College Legal Counsel. The committee discussed the following items. 10A, consideration and possible action on approval of matching grant to support the Texas Historical Commission's Texas Preservation Trust Fund Grant Program. I'll call on Dr. Garcia and Ms. Monica Gonzalez.
Thank you, Trustee Camarillo, Chair Garza, members of the board, President Rodriguez. This item is related to a grant submission to the Texas Historical Commission. And earlier this year, we submitted a letter of intent. And in April, we were invited to apply and submit a full application. There were 48 applications received, and we were one of 22 organizations that were invited. The grant maximum is for a project that is valued at $100,000, meaning they would put in $50,000, but we have to match 50. And so it's been the practice of the board to approve any grants that have a match. And so in this case, this is to support and improve our historical buildings. We have 8 on campus. We are targeting windows. We have 80 windows on these historical. 80, yes. And so they are expensive to replace. And so this is what we would target. And this is because we are working on a Fort Brown Heritage walking tour. And so we already have a lot of people coming to campus, but hopefully we will have more. We are working on a different grant to work on the signage. We have another grant, unsolicited, that we will be submitting locally to BCIC. So we're hoping that we can perhaps leverage those dollars, and maybe not all $50,000 would have to come from this board or the college, but maybe use some of that grant dollars. But this action tonight is specifically for the Texas Historical Commission and requesting approval to get $50,000 of our budget towards the match.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia. I move to approve the allocation of matching grant support in the amount of $50,000 contingent on the notice of grant award for $50,000 from the Texas Historical Commission, $100,000 project grant, a project total, and to authorize President Rodriguez to execute related documents as presented.
A motion by Mr. Camarillo,
Second.
second by Mr. Garcia. Any discussion?
Question. Do the windows that are going to be replaced have to be windows of that era, or can they just be windows?
Yeah, no, to maintain our historic, that we have to use of the period, yeah, and
Okay.
get them as close. That's why they are so expensive.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
10B, consideration and possible action to award RFP 25-10 for campus directional signage design. Dr. Garcia?
Thank you, Trustee Camarillo, Chair Garza, members of the board, President Rodriguez. This is an RFP that, for consultation and support in developing the specifications for internal, external, and wayfinding signage on all of our, all locations. So this location, ITech, inside and outside. And so you can see there, back in March, we released the RFP. April 9th, the proposals came in. There were 3. There was some questions in terms of when we reviewed the proposals, they appeared to maybe be missing. So there was a follow-up interview with each of the vendors and by the team that was evaluating. We did a formal evaluation of the proposals on May 30th, which brings us here today. And so the company that we're looking for will help us develop what you see as the signs that we currently have, but the standards that we will have for the campus at our locations. So this is street signs, parking lot signs, any branding that we have. And so this would create that uniformity and standardization at ITech specifically along with this campus, so you know you're at a Texas Southmost College location. We did receive, these are the members that evaluated the proposal. So we had some folks from marketing and some folks from facilities, because they will both be part of this process. We did have 3 proposals that were delivered on time. You can see the pricing is pretty wide-ranging, widespread. The bottom one that has the asterisk, when we had the interview with them, that's when we identified they did not have a complete proposal. They were missing the most significant part, which is developing the specs for what we need. And then the first 2 were capable and qualified. The middle one we felt had the most comprehensive proposal. So you should have received the proposal with your materials, and you can see just from the difference that they really addressed all of the areas of the proposal, extensive experience, which you can see on this particular slide, those green areas, and this is the rubric that we use to evaluate all the proposals. The green areas, all the strength areas of that particular proposal. And so there it is. This is I guess the outcomes of that particular evaluation.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia. I move to award RFP 25-10 for campus directional signage design to FD2S, Inc., and authorize President Rodriguez to execute the contract as presented.
A motion by Mr. Camarillo,
Second.
second by Mr. Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
10C, consideration and possible action on approval of ITech pipe fitting lamp power upgrades proposal. Dr. Garcia and Mr. Robles.
Thank you, Trustee Camarillo, Chair Garza, members of the board, President Rodriguez. This item is another RFP. This was released in February, and on April, it was extended several times. We were not getting proposals. So as a result, we had to, call the engineers, call other vendors, and start looking at available organizations that were in a co-op or, or a buy board kind of opportunity. And so in this case, we were able to get 4 proposals received, and Mr. Robles can talk to you about what the project is. I will give you just a little refresher. In many of the facilities updates that we've been doing over the last 6 months, we talked about the ITech pipe fitting expansion and talked about the non-electrical projects. So the garage door, we expanded. It's right next to the diesel engine. So we opened up some areas. And so this is now to add the additional electrical so we can add more units or trainers so that we can train more students as the pipe fitting program grows. And so I will invite Mr. Robles to talk to you a little bit about what the project is.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia, Madam Chair, trustee members, and President Rodriguez. What you see over the screen is you'll see the drawings of where we're going to add electrical power based on the need of the department. Also, too, we'll have a evacuation system will pull out any types of metal flake or anything that they're grinding or whatever the case might be to keep the air environmentally clean in that workspace. So as Dr. Garcia mentioned, it really is a true upgrade of that facility, that space, because it really allows that department to grow. It's just going to be an amazing area once it's completed. What, through the co-ops, we had 4 companies that applied. We had Signs and More, A1 Facility, Noble, and Central Air and Heating Service. You'll see the pricing amounts there. Sorry, I went. Were you? No? Oh, okay. Basically, the winner of, or the company that we reviewed and felt that had the most experience was Signs and More, so we're recommending Signs and More.
Signs and More is from?
Brownsville, I believe. I think their home office is Brownsville, their work warehouse.
You felt that Signs and More had more experience than Noble?
In this
particular thing?
This particular, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. I move to approve iTech Center Pipe Fitting Lab Power Upgrades Project with Signs and More LLC through Choice Partners Contract in the amount of $242,697 plus 5% contingency to cover unforeseen events and authorize President Rodriguez to execute the purchase order contract as presented.
Motion by Mr. Camarillo,
Second.
second by Mr. Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
10D, consideration of possible action on award for engineering design services for the replacement of centrifugal chillers 3 and 4 of the main campus thermal plant. Dr. Garcia and Mr. Robles.
Thank you, Trustee Camarillo, Chair Garza, members of the board, President Rodriguez. This is to award or name an engineer for the chillers. So this particular item on the committee meeting generated a lot of discussion. And so this is kind of a revamped presentation to try to clarify. And so this is a chronology because this goes back 2 years. This does go back 2 years. So if you start at the bottom of this particular table, back in August 17th of 2023, this board made an award of 2 different RFPs. And so the first one in yellow was the cooling towers, and the second one in the teal are the chillers. And then in June of '24, so almost a year later, this board approved engineers for the installation of the cooling towers. So that was the design work, so then we can hire a company that can then install the cooling towers. The cooling towers were delivered on July 3rd, so mind you, that was almost 11 months later. The board awarded in August, and it took us till July to get the cooling towers in. We had an engineer in place, and so the engineers worked the specs. An RFP was released, and in August 22, 2024, the contract was awarded to, I think, Carrier to install the cooling towers, right? So January 1 of this year, the chillers arrived. So remember, you purchased or approved the chillers in August of '23. They didn't arrive until January 1, 2025.
And we knew they were going to take that long.
Yeah, there was a lot of lead time there. And then that brings us to this point. So now the cooling towers are one project. That's the yellow up there. And so today is the requesting the approval of the engineers that will develop the specs so then we can install the chillers, right? And then it's going to go through the same process as the cooling towers. And so because we see it every day and you all don't, these are the cooling towers. And so we've shown you pictures. This is Gerardo's video. I think he goes to sleep with every night. He's, these are the 5 cooling towers. There's the fans on the top of the thermal plant.
Yes.
All 5 are being replaced. You'll get an update during the facilities update on that. They hold water. Ronnie calls them water towers. So water towers, cooling towers on the top of the thermal plant. What we are talking about here today are the chillers. So they have not been unveiled yet. They're in the plastic. They're sitting in the parking lot. They will chill the water that comes from the cooling towers, right? So that's why they are chillers. They are replacing chillers that are in the thermal plant now. So we need engineers to develop the specs because this will require, these are more efficient than the chillers that we have right now. So there's going to be a lot of electrical work that will be done there to power down what amount of electricity that's going into the thermal plant right now. And so the item actually is this right here, which is the approval of the engineers. And so there is a separate kind of timeline on the pool of engineers and architects that you all approved a year ago. So a year ago in March, we brought a lot of architects and engineers. 4 of the companies on that list were MEP engineers, which is what we need to write the specs for the chiller installation. And so because they were already determined eligible and approved, the process we use internally is we send out a questionnaire. We ask them, number 1, are you interested in doing this project? You're approved already. Are you interested, yes or no? And obviously of the 4 there, 3 of them said yes, and we sent them a questionnaire. And it's something that Ronnie and his team and Mr. Mascoro, they look at. And one of the questions we ask, and really the basis for the decision here is, will you have staff locally managing the project here? And the one that said yes on all of them was Ethos. And so that is really the basis for selecting them to do this particular project. And this is what they're going to do, and this is where these guys can answer the scope of what they write so that we can put out an RFP. And so based on, I'm not going to try to go back, but based on if Ethos is approved this evening, they'll be contacted, they'll start the specs, and probably put out an RFP maybe in August, July, August, depending on how quickly they can write the specs. So we're looking at probably the end of this year, October, November, where you would be awarding a company that's going to install the chillers, right? So probably installation of chillers will happen in '26. The cooling towers on top should be in by the end of this year. So it's a lot of moving parts, right? So these guys have a lot of work to do related to that.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Garcia. I move to approve to award engineering design services for the replacement of the centrifugal chillers 3 and 4, project to Ethos Holistic Holdings, LLC, DBA Ethos Engineering, and authorize President Rodriguez to execute the contract as presented.
A motion by Mr. Camarillo. Second. Second by Mr. Garcia. Discussion? I know that you did a really good job explaining, but at the committee meeting, I was totally lost. I mean, not only did it happen last year, I was having trouble with chillers and water towers, and, you all live it and you see it all the time, but we've got other lives.
It took me a while, but I was the same way when they would talk. I was like,
But first, it just fell into place. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Dr. Garcia, A+. I mean,
Yes.
Thank you.
that's impressive.
Did a good job.
Thank you.
I followed.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
You weren't there, so it's good.
Thank you.
All those
Maybe
in-
because I've been part of the process since 2023.
There you go.
Been how long?
I've been with this, Delia has been with this since 2023, so we've seen the progress and.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
10E, consideration of possible action on approval of furniture purchase. Dr. Garcia, Mr. Robles.
Thank you, Trustee Camarillo, Chair Garza, members of the board, President Rodriguez. This item is for the purchase of furniture for various locations. This is through a co-op program. And so one of the things that we looked at the committee was another chronology, and this one goes back to 2019, where there was some major purchases done. And, with the foresight of the board in requesting standards, right, for all of the furniture that will be purchased in coming years, so that it all looks like, just like the signage, it's going to be kind of all part of the same family, that we're all, regardless of where you are, you know that this is a Texas Southmost College room or facility or what have you. So you can see from 2019 up until May of '22, major, significant purchases done in all locations of the college, here and at iTech. And so this is a continuation. We have a few areas, and with the budget amendment that you just approved, this is part of the purchase here is because of that budget amendment, so thank you. So there is, these are the standards that we talked about. So we work directly with the manufacturer. They have a consultant. She comes and she looks at what we need, she measures, and then she sends us the layouts and the quotes. And so the areas that we are targeting on this particular agenda is M1 building. So M1 is primarily labs, science labs. It was vacated by UTRGV in the fall. And so Dr. Alves will have some science classes, starting in the fall there. Cortez Hall, again, more classrooms there, music and art, and then iTech in some of the common areas. And these are just some of the layouts that she had provided in terms of M1. Again, some offices and some classrooms and labs. Cortez Hall, the art class will be moving there, so the drafting tables are for the art program. And then there have some music classes as well. And then iTech, some of the common spaces, especially when you walk in from the front end. So that's probably extensive, more furniture than we need, but those are general layouts, some sofas and areas throughout, not just, pretty much all the entrances there at iTech. Some of the vendors we've used, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia. I move to approve furniture purchase directly from the manufacturer Kruger International, KI, through Omnia Partners, contract in the amount of $368,000, and authorize President Rodriguez to execute the purchase order contract as presented.
Motion by Mr. Camarillo,
Second.
second by Mr. Garcia. Any discussion?
This is wonderful. I think it's really going to bring an uplift to the iTech building. I love it. I just have one question. The student chair, it's white? Like where you sit is white?
I think it's in the classrooms, I'll check. I don't know if they're hard
Because
plastic.
the picture that we have here, I think it's going to look very dirty. Maybe like the blue.
I think ours are blue.
Yes, but this one looks white.
In
Yeah,
which
It's gonna look dirty very quickly.
You're saying
Yeah.
for the art chairs?
No, the student chair. This
The
right
student
here.
chairs?
in the,
This
which
one?
classroom? Okay. Oh, I see,
Student
yes.
chair?
Yes, the one that on the
It's not like
standards.
the blue one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it would
I
be
see what you're talking
blue.
about.
That would be better, just
Okay.
for cleanliness.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We'll make sure.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries.
10F, facilities update, Dr. Garcia and Mr. Robles.
Thank you, Trustee Camarillo, Chair Garza, members of the board, President Rodriguez. With your permission, I'll turn it over to Mr. Robles. Before I do that, the one thing we did not include on this report was a PUB update on the water tower demolition. We did have a meeting with them this week, and so the vendor they have that's doing the demolition apparently is doing demolitions all over Texas. And so he's further behind schedule, so now we're looking at the end of July? Yeah, the end of July that they would start the demolition of the tower. So I wanted to just give you that update.
They've been threatening for years to do it, and
Now the TCQ, which is a regulatory agency, has really been, they're having to respond to them too. So they know it has to come down, so they are, we feel by the end of this, I won't even guess. I'm not gonna say.
Mr. Robles?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, Dr. Rodriguez. Just a quick update on what's been happening within the facilities area. Okay, we'll start with the thermal plant cooling tower installation. Cooling towers 1 and 2 are in place, and the project is still scheduled to be completed by December 31st. We've had some issues with a couple of days delayed, but they are still reassuring us at this point that they will be completed with the install, piping, everything by that date. And we've moved to a weekly meeting now so that we can be updated as we proceed closer to this date. There you'll see the cooling towers. On the left is towers 1 and 2? 1 and 2 that have been removed, and then 1 and 2 placed back, the new ones placed back in the area. Here's just another view of the same equipment. Next is the fire line project at ITEC. This project started back in, well, the actual project began May 12th. It was inspected today by the fire marshal and passed inspection. We've passed the June 21st date, but today was one of the last inspections. So they'll complete everything that they need to and do a final inspection of the whole project. Then they'll have, we'll turn it over to safety and security, where they'll do the testing of the panel, the fire panel, to make sure that all the work that was performed on this notifies that panel. So we're really close to completing this actual job. There you'll see some pipes, some couplings. There, on the right side, there's a motor in there that moves this water should it have to be used. There's some more piping, just rough in of the area. There again, they when they were digging, they ran into a problem, repaired it, pumped out everything, and fire marshal has approved it. It's passed everything that it needs to. All right, we'll move on to the hydronic line replacement project. This is the underground pipes that need to be replaced. There on the left, you'll see the area that the piping will be replaced. Yes, I'm sorry, in the red. And you can see where they have dug out just different areas because of leaks that have occurred that is causing the replacement of the hydronic lines. The engineering and surveys are expected to be completed by July 31st, so we'll have them in hand, sealed, and then from there, we'll proceed to, with purchasing, to put together an RFP for the installation of the drawings for this project.
This would be a capital project, right? Part of that one.
I'm sorry?
So this would be one of the capital projects that we would be requesting soon.
Thank you very much. This item is for information only. No action is required. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Camarillo. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Policies Committee, Ms. Aldrete.
Yes. The Policies
Thank you,
Committee-
gentlemen.
Thank you. The Policies Committee met on Tuesday, June 17, 2025. Present were Chair Garza, President Rodriguez, myself, members of the TSC Administration and College Legal Counsel. The committee discussed the following items. 11A, consideration and possible action to approve the TASB Update 49 Local Policies CBA, BCB, and BCE. I call on Mr. Frank.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Ms. Alderete, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Rodriguez. Before you have BCA, this is a added policy. You have one, and that is legal policy. This is a straightforward policy as to how you organize and elect your chair, vice chair, and the different officers. It's pretty straightforward policy that actually you put into action every time that you do reorganize the board. BCB is a board committees. TASB had sent us their standard policy because of our history and the procedures that we've had in the past. We made a slight modification to the policy, and you can see that in red. The chair has historically appointed committees, rather, and the committee felt that we should continue with that procedure. And so you'll see those minor changes in red in that particular policy. The next policy is BCE. Again, this is a new policy. It's an added policy. You have a legal policy in that regard. You will see that this policy addresses the formation and authority of advisory committees. The college actually has standing committees in different areas right now. The committee believed that it would be appropriate to make a modification to this policy so that when the board or the chair, you all decide on committees, that they would be denominated as special committees. These committees are going to be composed, as the policy sets out, district staff, students, community members, and these committees are not making binding decisions. They will be making recommendations to the board in an area that's been specified that they would be addressing. Those are the three added policies that we are recommending approval.
I move to approve the following TASB Update 49 local policies, BCA, BCB, and BCE as presented.
Motion by Ms. Aldrete,
Second.
second by Ms. Science. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
11B, consideration and possible action to approve the following revisions to local policies, DJ, EA, and ECC.
Thank you, Ms. Aldereta. Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Rodriguez, in front of you, you have the revised policies. These are policies that you already have, but that are going to be modified in minor manners, and you will see those in red in DJ. We've added that is consistent with our contracts that we provide to our faculty, that they are also to teach in any modality. That means either face-to-face, online, et cetera. So that is consistent with not only our practice, but our policy as well. You will also see that it adds the issue of cooperative education, capstone, apprenticeship, or internship hours. And you will see those changes in red. EA academic year and calendar is a simple addition to the word orientation is added to that policy. That's the only change to that. ECC is the instructional arrangement, course load, and schedules, which is always important to students. This policy updates and reflects the amendment to coordinating board rules for applying exceptions to the limit of courses a student may enroll over summer. Additional changes have been made only for clarity. Those are the only changes that have been offered for revised policy.
I move to approve the following revisions to local policies, DJ, EA, and ECC as presented.
Motion by Ms. Aldrete,
Second.
second by Dr. Harris. Any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Peña, quick question, sir, on DJ number 4. So the removal of equal to 1/8 of the work unit, and it's now going to be based on enrollment. Do we know what that number is?
I would defer to Mr. Hernandez. I only do the legal, sir. I don't do the practical.
I was trying to understand it.
Good question, Mr. Camarillo. It'll be based on enrollment, for example, 1 to 2 students in a practicum, per se. The faculty member will receive half a credit or load hour. 5 to 10 will be 1 load hour, up until 25 for 5 credits.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Now we're going to executive session. The board will not convene in executive session as provided by Government Code Chapter 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.089. Executive session. Do we have a motion?
Excuse me. I move that the Board of Trustees authorize and approve the fiscal year 2024-2025 salary schedule as discussed in executive session.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Camarillo, second by Ms. Aldrete. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. We are done. Next meeting date, first reading, we're gonna start with the budget.
Budget.
First reading of the budget will be Thursday, August the 14th. And then public hearing, regular meeting, August the 28th. And then the following regular board meeting will be September the 18th.
Great.
That work, I think we should all calendar that because these are must dates. And since we're not having a board meeting in July, I think we should be ready make up for it in August.
Is it August 14th, the time?
August
is it the same?
14th?
The
Same.
5:30 as well?
Yes. And the last one is what? August what?
August 28 and September 18.
So it's 14, 28, and 18.
14, 28, and September 18. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Camarillo, second by Ms. Aldrete. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Stand adjourned.
Enjoy your
Thank you very much.
vacations.